which is going to be like a part payment. So you can make a part payment to start the class. So as the class goes through, you can also complete your payments. So that is how it works. In case other persons have concerns about this. So that's it for now. So Mr. Ajayi, over to you. Thank you.
Okay, let's enjoy our own class. For those, this class is completely free. Just kind of give us an insight to as many that may really want to have their journey on the IT. Um, it's sponsored by us. It's purely free. It's something you can start off with as entry level in any job. And of course, you can also need the knowledge to yourself. At homes, we all use Outlook. At some point, we're going to get there where you can actually manage your own suits. Are very important. Then it might also be useful, maybe at office, try to troubleshoot your email flows and all that, which we're going to get to. So we're going to just start off. I got some feedbacks, which we're going to be, in terms of some of the feedbacks. Some people want us to, have more scenario based. I will try my best to see if I can create some scenarios. I know that, on the advanced level, you do a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of advance. Otherwise, the 3 weeks is not going to be enough for us. So that's why it's limited to 3 weeks, because without this is a period you get to decide whether you really want to go in deeper or not. But it's interestingly, whatever we are doing, it's free. The account created by you is free. Whatever I'm offering is free. It's all free. So at the advanced level, we take our time to do a lot of elaborate discussions on advanced. The class is for about an hour. On the advanced level, it's going to be 2 hours per session. So definitely it's not going to be on the same level. Some of these things are going to be touched, but more in the, troubleshooting, be more involved, because and the thoroughness will also be more involved. A whole lot of time will be spent as well. So I'm going to start off with just a quiz, just to have a knowledge check about what we've learned, at least in the last 1 week. We've had the assignments have been posted. You have the access to the materials, at least on the high level. You have understanding of the concept, understanding of what you're doing, and then to have a knowledge checks of some of the things I've asked in the assignments, the users, groups, putting up licenses. We'll have a kind of a knowledge check. So I'm just going to post it there. 5 questions, true or false. It's as simple as that. You can finish that in 2 minutes. You have our knowledge checks, and they will be able to. Then, once you're done, I gave one last week. Hopefully, everybody gets to. That one is just what you've configured about your environment. This one going forward, we will take a look at the answers to the questions. I'm just going to put it out there, just 1 minute. So I just posted the quiz, and in the next 5 minutes, this is 3:13 my time. So it has a timestamp on it. If you do it after that time, you're on your own. But we are going to just look at the answers ourselves because we are having the records of people who have. By the way, I have all the records of people who did the assignment, the last one. I closed about 20 people. It's not really encouraging. I don't want it so I will say, look, because it's free and that we are not participating. I don't, the way I do things is if you know you really want it, just participate. It's not going to cost you anything. So we have 3:13, and by 3:18, we should be done. It's just 5 questions. Should be done within 1 or 2 minutes. So let's start now. We want people to participate because that's the beauty of it, so that you can ask questions as we go along, and then we're going to take a look at this question ourselves. So to drive involvement, engagement in whatever we are doing. So it's already on the WhatsApp group. that's the end of our quiz. So let's quickly just take a look at the questions asked, and then we'll jump into the for today. Can you all see my screen? All right, so let's take a look at the quiz. So apart from you putting your name and your email address, we'll be able to know whoever actually did the quiz. We know we talked about user creating accounts, and we have two different of users. We have guest account and member accounts. If we are to, when you create members accounts, member can have full admin role, true or false? Yeah, anybody?
True.
Just put up your this. Anybody? True or false? I didn't hear you. Yes, Mr. Olalua.
False, because you have to license the member, either guest or member.
Yeah, so the question is, can he have it? Not that they actually come with somebody also raised his hand. Mr. John.
Yes, you can give them the full admin role.
Yeah, so member can have full admin role. Now, originally, when you create the account, it doesn't come with admin role, but the members can have full admin role. So that's one that is true. So the second one, when you create a guest account, guests can have full admin role. It's can they have it or not?
No, because they are guests. False.
Yes, they can. For the fact that they are guests, yes. For the fact they are guests doesn't mean they cannot. So you can try it in your account. So the way it is this. Guest accounts can be invited from another organization. Let's say some people, maybe you partner with let's say you partner with another organization. In most cases, maybe they are trying to form investigation, or they are trying to yes, they are trying to match. They can say, okay, you know what, we want your admin to have access on our own admin. So in that case, you invite that person over, maybe a senior person, and then when you invite that person over, it's a guest account. Even though we practice with your Gmail account or your account. So basically, you invite that person over, you can give that person a full admin role access on your own tenant. So you invite somebody from outside and the person can have a full admin role on your own tenant. Yes, it is true. So with get accounts, will you need an external ID for invitation? Everybody should know this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
True, everybody. So with guest accounts, you will need an external ID because you don't have internal ID. You need the external ID to be invited for that. Types of accounts on Entra ID are security group and distribute group. True or false? My secretary just put it as question mark. It's supposed to be a statement. They need to work on this. It's supposed to be a statement. They are all statements. So the statement true or false would be the type of group account. Now, if you go to your group, when you are creating group, so I just want us to make sure you are paying attention. When you are creating a group on Entra ID, that's the first, the first admin that we looked at. We know that there is a security group and there is M3C5 group. So distribution group is not there. We mentioned briefly in the last class. It's not there. It's majorly two. We are going to be talking about it also today. So it is false. A user does not need license to get a user mailbox in Office 365. True or false? Anyone?
False.
That should be false now.
Yes, it's false because a user does need a license before they can be provisioned an email, a mailbox. We also showed that last time. All right, so I'm just going to switch out to the class. So today
So
is going
sorry,
to be
sorry,
yes,
before you start,
yes,
that
yes,
question, yeah,
yes.
the question about the inviting a guest from other organization. So can
Mhm.
you invite a private person, maybe like
Yes.
that,
As a
Gmail?
matter of yes,
That
as
would
a matter
be,
of yes, you can invite the way it is, number one, as long as external ID,
yeah.
you can invite anybody, whether it's from Yahoo, from Gmail, from another tenant. Let's say just you have now, you have your own separate tenant. Another person has their own tenant. I've already explained what tenant is in my previous video. I mean, it's just a space out of that is apportioned to you. So two of you having the two different, maybe Olaoluwa on Microsoft has another person has an account, so you can actually invite each other and provision access to each other. So you can invite me in my own organization. I can invite you, and then still provide access to you. It could be an email, the normal email address. As long as that person has admin access, you are good to go. So you can have access. So it's just a tricky question, but you need to have that knowledge as part of what you know. All right. Any question before we go ahead? Yes. Star Lumu, you are. Yes.
All right, thank you. Regarding also from this external invitee, as you mentioned, I saw in a place that says that you can also license the external user. Is it possible to give the person license?
Yes. So it is possible if you have in most cases, if you need to provision a mailbox, then that person will have a the most scenario that I've worked with, they don't provision them, but just majorly for
Okay.
license for admin purposes. But if you are
Yeah.
going to provision external person, now it's a complex scenario because the external person that you are inviting will be authenticating with his own. The way it is I have my own account here. You have your own account there. Now, if I need to authenticate, the information will come to, let's use tenant one, tenant two, for instance. Tenant one invited a user in tenant two, and then tenant two, you can say maybe user two, and then there's a user one here. User one here in tenant one has a mailbox because there's a license provision. Then user two, you are bringing user two to tenant one. Now, what it means is basically you invite that person over. When you invite that person over, now when that person wants to authenticate, he wants to log in to user one, to tenant one. The authentication will happen in tenant one, not in tenant two. Why? Because where the user is residing is in tenant one. So basically, the only thing that happened is that the user one will send the listen to a message to user one tenant, and user two will send a message to user one tenant to tenant one and said, "Oh, I have access in this environment. Can you give me access?" Then the other person, because during that invitation, there is an handshake between the two tenants that said, "Oh, true, yes, you can always visit me and get access." So the person automatically will redirect you to user one. So user one is trying to access tenant one. User two is trying to access the tenant one. Now, when he's trying to access that tenant one, the tenant one will redirect that user two back to the tenant two to get verification from his own identity. So that's why I said it's a complex scenario.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a complex scenario. Maybe we'll get there. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll get there. But basically, it's just to tell you that yes, it's very possible. almost the same scenario too happens when you have a B2C environment. You go and log into somebody's, you are trying to have access to an application, and that application say, yo, you can use your Gmail account, or you can use your Facebook account. So what it means is that immediately you are trying to sign in. Now, the new place that you are trying to sign, you think there is a new place that actually provide you access, or the Facebook you are trying to have access is the one that provides you. No, it will go back to your Gmail and then re-verify you before you actually give you access. So there's a provision for that. But those are complex scenario. We'll be talking about possibly an advanced class where you can
Okay.
have a mailbox also in the new tenant. That's a different scenario. Yes, Mr. John.
Yeah, sorry that I just need a clear understanding. So for the general mailbox, so my question is, if you have a mailbox already or somebody in the group, then is it possible to move that mailbox to share mailbox
Sorry,
so that
take
so
again.
that you can
You,
now
you
share
have
them
you have a you have a mailbox already.
already? Yeah, that is not really in share, not really share, but it's just only for somebody. So is it possible to create a share box from that email, just like info at so.com? That is just regular. You have not signed it to anybody. But is it possible to move that email, to move it to a share, then you can share with each other, maybe three or four users?
So I'm trying to understand. Okay, so you're saying that let's say you have a mailbox,
And
and
which
then
is
that
info.
mailbox.
So and so. Yeah, let me just assume that. So that you have not really, you just send it to somebody, but you have not really shared, but you want, just like the example you gave,
Oh,
people
okay.
actually want three people to have access to it, to share.
So the
So,
mailbox.
yeah,
Yes. So you are talking about mailbox delegation. We are coming
yeah,
there.
maybe. Okay, all right.
So where you have to give somebody access, which is often needful in most organizations. We can have the secretary to the CEO, and the secretary will say, okay, there are so many scenarios that we're going to be looking at
Okay.
where the maybe a principal officer have a secretary, and then they're so busy kind of a person, and they want the person to be checking his calendar, and also if he has any meeting, either attend the meeting on his behalf or even send email on his behalf. So those kind of a scenario, we are going to be looking at it today, tomorrow, which is going to be tomorrow is going to be a major mail flow situation. But today we're going to take a look at all we need to look at today. Tomorrow, by the end of tomorrow, you should be able to say, on my own, I can troubleshoot email flow. I can be able to delegate all those little bit of an admin when it comes to emails and mail flow, basic things that you can do on as an admin should be able to confidently say, okay, as an entry level person, you can manage that. So yeah, so I believe it's Mr. John that just raised his hand, right? So you are
Yeah,
done.
sorry, I'm the one. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's quickly jump into today so that it's going to be a very short slide, because we need to really go into action. So today we are going to be looking at the admin. We looked at the previous time, we looked at the entry ID, and then we also look at part of the admin center. Today we're going to be looking at admin center versus the exchange admin, which is going to be differences and things that we're going to note. And then we're going to be looking at the different levels, different types of admin users that we have under admin center. And then we'll take a look at the admin groups. Now, already during our entry ID, we have identified two different groups, which is security groups and a M365 group. And then from there, we go into mailboxes. And then this one, where we start talking about user mailboxes and different kind of mailboxes we're going to be talking about here. Then, of course, starting from here, we already said we're going to do this. Take a look at deep dive into the two. Basically, this is just general services where you have different services under admin, and then why the exchange admin center is majorly for email, anything that has to be with mailbox. If it doesn't have to be in mailbox, you are not going to see it there. So have to be in the mailbox. We are going to see the differences that I talked about. Then under the admin users, we're going to be looking at different kind of users, which we're going to look at. Already mentioned the contacts, which have to be added to the directory. We're going to look at that again. We talked about it last week. We're going to take a look at it again. Guest invited user, we're going to look at it, and of course we're going to talk a little about deleted users. Then also the admin group in this admin center. The last one we talked about M365 group and security group. Now on the admin group, it's basically under admin center. Majorly what happened is there are other things that are associated with admin. So, and that's why you'll be seeing something like distribution group. That's the first time you'll be seeing distribution group, which is related to Exchange admin. And then, of course, we're talking about, when they are deleted, how long are they going to stay? So, and then when it comes to mailboxes, so we talked about it that the user mailbox need a license to be provisioned. We need share mailbox, which is jointly used, and then you can add a user with a user mailbox. So basically, you will need someone before somebody can actually access to this share mailbox. He or she will need a user mailbox. Need to be been provisioned before you can actually open this, because you must have a primary mailbox, which is this is also referred to as a primary mailbox, before you can actually use this other secondary mailbox. And then we also talk about resource mailbox, room mailboxes. Basically, giving a scenario of in an organization where you need to manage several rooms, several offices, even buildings, and then maybe often at time people go through, then you have a big conference room where a lot of people use from time to time. And then, people want to plan, program, events, so instead of so you must go ahead and see visibility to know whether that room is available for the dates you want to use it for or not. So we need a mailbox that will give us that visibility. So basically I can say, oh, there's a on building so there's a room for conference, room 20 something, that I wanted to be able to use on maybe October so date or December so date. So this mailbox, resource mailbox, they call it resource mailbox because it helps us to manage the resources that we have, especially rooms and building. That is called resource room. Now the other one is called resource equipment, which is also majorly, you could imagine if you have about 2 cars and then you have almost about 100 people who want to make use of that car. How do you manage it? And they want to use it for different official purposes. All of them can look at when that car is going to be available for it, for a use. The same thing for projector and some other, equipment that is being used by the organization. That provide an effectiveness, a good effective use of the organization. So, and that's the reason why these are the applications where we can use them. And so, and also you can be asked, oh, help me create a resource room. Then of course, the question to ask, whether to have, oh, help me create a share mailbox room. You need to have delegations. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And of course, this will be the class work, and I think where we're going to start the work from. So who is going to give us, or maybe I should just use who is going to give volunteer to this time around for us to start the work? I need a volunteer who can, any volunteer, ready, shared screen. If you are ready. So we can take it one after the other. Any volunteer? You want me to share my own screen? Okay, Mr. Lalua says he's going to volunteer. So I'm going to give you a course access. So you can share your screen, and I will take it from there. Actually, the first one, hold on. the first one, you can hold on. The first one says we need to see the, I will use mine and the first one. Then the second one, so apply license. I think we are all done. Majority of that, I've seen that. Then, oh, Jesus. Hold on 1 minute. Okay. Okay. So we have, yes. So the first one with, okay. So we are going to have the, I will do the first one. Then I'm not sure there's anybody who don't know how to apply licenses. I will do the first one because at least I can share my own. So you have I seem to have a bigger features because we use enterprise and environments, and then you could see might be one or two differences different from your own, but that's okay. It's just for you to see. We have a partner tenant with Microsoft, so what you see might be quite different from what you are seeing, which you're for free version. So you also need to have an idea of what I'll be talking about, and then I'll be faster. So I'm going to share my screen. So let's say we have our normal place we go. So our normal place we normally go, we go to admin .microsoft.com, and then we need to know exactly the differences between these environments. So we have under users, we have active users. We have active users. You could see these are more like an invited user. You could see external users. And then you could see this is also another users. I'm going to explain that one later on. Because we can have this one and also can be a mailbox, but this one, they are internal users and they are mailbox as well. But the created identities, they are licensed, but they are mailbox. But we're going to talk about that. So, but these are external users. When you see EXT, they're external users, just in case you need to know that. So that being said, we have, that's under active users. Now, under contacts, I showed this one before. This is when you are trying to have your own account. You can figure out, I'm going to create a scenario here. Let me see feasibility. Now, the major reason why you're having a contact is because in your company, you have several people, vendors working for you. Or that you need to have their contacts. And then those vendors are being used by several people. So you can't afford to go and write it down somewhere and said, oh, Mr. Soso is work for Zen Bank, Mr. Soso is work for Cyclobo, Mr. Soso work for this. So you want to make sure that you put them and then you can easily search them out from the Outlook. An example of that is that if I have my Outlook and then I need to have this, for instance, and what I needed to do is to look for somebody's email. I could just say Olu, and then it will give me different ID out. So because I added it to, it's going to be on my gallery, on my what we call the gallery. So the other one is for me to also look at it is also, you can also look at it from the, I'm not sure whether I have this. try new look. Okay, let me leave that. So you can also search for where is this? I'm looking for address book. Yes. So your address book is something that where you can always make a lot of search from. So whatever it is you want to do, the person will be showing up on your address book. All your contact will be showing up on your address book, because that's where. So if you are looking for anything, they will show up on your address book. So your address book becomes where you can search. So your contact will show up on your address book, basically. Now, so that's as far as the contacts is concerned. So all, whether it is your address book, all your contact will show up alongside with all your mailboxes, your ID within this environment. So all of them will show up alongside with the, and then you can be able to use that as you like. Now, we already have Oladu, you want to raise up? You want to say something?
Yes, Mr. Jai, I have two questions as to contact before we move forward. So the first question is, I tried creating contact, just like you said in the last assignment, and the address in the recipient. I didn't go as far as having an address book, right? So I have it in the recipient in my mailbox. So I tried getting the email of some of the contact that I have added, but it's not showing. So I don't know how you are able to get Olu from your recipient, even though it's on the contact list. I have some also on my contact list, but they were not coming up on my recipient. So I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Okay. No, you sometimes number one, it takes time to populate. That's one. Two is that when you create it, sometimes when you look at it the first time, then automatically it gets populated, you know. So because you just start here, for instance, it get populated. And sometimes let's assume it's not even, let's say you just say this one is, you just do like this, you close this one, all this suggestion. You see all this suggestion. You see I cancel it, right?
Yes.
Now I could actually try to check, do a check. Where is that? Should be somewhere around here. I'm trying to figure out. I could do a check on my so sometimes you see what I just did now, it kind of cleared the memory, kind of. If you cannot find it, what I would always tell people, because these are issues that actually can happen. Somebody might say, oh, we created a contact, but I'm not seeing it. Ask the person to use address book. When you use address book, for instance, then this contact will come back. So it will register to it. When you register to it, automatically from time to time, anytime you now want to, anytime you now want to use, anytime you now create Olu, then automatically this will come up.
Okay. So
Yes.
do they automatically save in the address book
They
when you create contacts?
They are going to be automatic. When merely you create contacts, it will always be on contact. So, but now for this to be able to pull it out, it might take some time. So mostly you can go and use address book and you can get it out. So I think that's just so we have that. So now that's on the aspect of contacts. Of course, we already know about the guest accounts. Some of the accounts that were created on the Entra ID side, they're also showing up on this side. And then some of them has permission, some of them has access to this environment, being provisioned to them. Now that's on the aspect of the guest. So please try and use this. Create a guest account. It's very, very important. Some of the questions we are asking will show whether you're actually creating them or not. And then we have deleted users. So usually deleted user will take about 30 days from the point of creation. When you deleted the user, it just is going away. 1 minute you create, it's going away. So that's a deleted user. So as far as we are concerned, when it comes to the licenses, I think we already talked about the licenses, but we're going to talk about the admin versus exchange now. So now, what is the difference? What are the things that have changed? Before we go into what changes, I want us to take a look at under teams and group. You can see these different, it means there are different groups here. And then you will see that, oh, why is share mailbox happening here when everything's supposed to be under this thing? Because share mailbox is not used by only Exchange alone. It's being used by other services as well. SharePoint and other. That's why everything that is being shared or appears in every other one, you will almost see them under admin center. And then if you also go to Exchange, you can always go to Exchange from here. If you go to Exchange, we manages majorly on your mailbox. Anything mailboxes, troubleshooting mailboxes, you will see them on your Exchange. However, you still see similarity between the two portals. Sometimes, if you can interchange, you can go in between the two portals if you have the access. Sometimes in the organization, they may not give you access to the admin center. You may be given access to only the Exchange. Now, you will see a number of things here. If you check here, if you check under the user account, under active accounts, let's start with that. You will see that there are some of them here who has a license and some of them who doesn't have a. Let's take for instance of this one. This one has a license. This one doesn't have a license. Excuse me. But somehow, the identity can be in the Exchange. Maybe he has a mailbox provision. Though we cannot say this one cannot be a regular mailbox or a user mailbox. It will have to be, if it doesn't have a license, it has to be a share mailbox, if at all. It can also not have a license, it can also not be a share mailbox as well. But most times, when you see, go and check Exchange, and you see that this particular ID has a mailbox and it doesn't have this in, automatically you should know that this one is a share mailbox. Now, I just by the way. But now looking at this account under this user, you will see that there's no user mailbox here. The only thing you see here is share mailbox. When you go to Exchange and you see under mailbox, everything is combined together. You know, before now, they usually have what's going on? Where is this one taking time? So before now, they usually separate them, but now if you go to under Exchange, you see everything now together. So we have under mailbox, you will see mailboxes. Now you will see here the buffer at axagile.com. You see that mailbox is a share mailbox here. Of course, it cannot be now number of scenarios. You can have you can have a mailbox. You cannot have a user mailbox without a license. Now, when you check the other one, you see that this one was licensed, and that's why you have a mailbox. That's a regular mailbox, a user mailbox. Now, you can have this one as a share mailbox, and you can also license this share mailbox. Now, what's the difference? The difference is when you open this and you look at this, how much is the mailbox that is given, the mailbox usage or this space, you see that it's about 100 gig. Now, if you open this one, what is giving you, you will see that it is 50 gig. So basically, you can create as many share mailbox within your organization, but it cannot go beyond 50 gig. However, if you want this share mailbox, because sometimes organization can create a share mailbox, maybe because they have been using that particular info at also and they needed more space, they will license it. So in most cases, when you say, oh, share mailbox, you don't need to license. No, share mailbox can be licensed. However, only user mailbox, you have to license user before you can get user mailbox. Share mailbox, you don't need to license it if it's just going to be just for 50 gig. But it will be licensed if you want it to make it up to 100 gig. So you can still retain the share mailbox properties and still have 100 gig. So that's the difference. I just wanted to do that in case, because the question can come. So we have, so that's on the part of the mailbox. So basically, when we are looking at the mailbox, you have two major mailbox. Now you will look here under this mailbox, you will see that you have, we're going to come into resource mailbox. You see that you have this, you will see that you have a regular mailbox, you have share mailbox. Now, under here, you will see that you have, you can create a room mailbox, and they can also create we're going to create one as an example. But for now, let's just compare the two. You have mailbox here, you have resource mailbox here, you have groups. Now, the groups you have here, I want you to pay attention. Under the group, you have M365 group, you have distribution list, you have dynamics distribution list, which is dynamic distribution group, whichever way you want to call it, and then you have mail enable security group. Now, they did not say security, but the security group will not appear here because it has nothing to do with Exchange. Now, but you will go to the admin. I just wanted you to pay attention to some of these things because I'm going to ask questions anyway. So here, under this group, you will see here Teams and Microsoft 365 group. They are going to appear here. Distribution lists is going to appear here. Security groups is going to appear here. But you will not see security group only on the Exchange. Why? Because Exchange only carries anything that has to do with email. And that's why, sometimes when you are doing troubleshooting, you need to know what you are looking for. Because here, if you compare what you have on the admin center, the admin center has Teams and Microsoft Group. And then you could see that because, like I said, admin covers every part. So he can share, he can bring all of them together. We're going to get to Teams briefly as part of this course, and then maybe major more in the advance. Now, Teams is part of the collaboration tools. SharePoint is part of collaboration tools. So it can exist here because under here you see different, you can see SharePoint, you can see Teams. So you will see anything that related to share Teams and share mailbox. Distributor list, it has Exchange, so you can see it here. Now, security groups, because it has a security here, identity, which is majorly under the identity. Security group, remember we have M365 group and security group. Those are the only two groups we have on the identity side, on Entra ID side. But here on the admin now, we have about 3 major types of group. And then we have this group, we have distro group, and then we have security group. And then if you want to do security group, and then you have 2 types of security group, the normal security group without email attached to it, which is majorly to just add people for provisioning, access or permission. And then you have another one that is email enabled security group. Now, where do we use this? We already said that during our listing that you can have security group. security group here, from what is here, is majorly for granting access. But there is another one called email security group. You will see that on that, you say that one is an email security group. Now, the email security group will be just to you provide access, and at the same time you can distribute email for them. So that's the difference. So I want us to pay attention to, because these are very, very key things that people get confused together. We have, I'm going to recap again. Under the group, under teams and group for admin, I think I should also need to take a look at this one under Entra ID at the same time, so that we can get the whole picture. So under Entra ID, if you go to group, because what Microsoft is doing is that the what is peculiar to this one is all only on identity. And then when it comes to group, what they offer here under this group would be security group or M365 group. If you put on security group, you will see that there's nothing like anything that has to do with mail. When you put up this M365 group, then there are options. The options would be whether they need to have a group mail, and then of course whether it's going to be assigned or dynamic user. That's a different, for advanced level. So basically you have only two types. But when it comes to admin here, then you have multiple types. Now you have teams, and then you can add to the teams. You can add M365 group, which means there could be a team group, there could be M365 group, because teams and this. Then under distribution list, you see, you can add distribution list. That's the only list there. You can add just only distribution list. And then under security groups, you can have security group, and then you can have mail enabled security group. So any of this you can have under when you can create. So basically, whatever you create here, if I create a mail enabled security group under this admin center, I'm going to find it under Exchange because it's mail enabled. But if I'm going to create a security group here, I'm not going to see it under Exchange. Why? Because it is not a mail enabled group. If I create a distribution list here, I'm going to find it under the Exchange too, because it's a mail enabled, list. Is to distribute mail, basically. And then if you see here, I mentioned here that M365 group plus team is for collaborations, teams, and SharePoint. Now, when it comes to distribution list or group, they call it, sometimes some people call it distribution list, some people call it distribution group, whichever way. It's an whole acronym. It's majorly to distribute mail. So the way it works is, if you have 5 people and you want us to be getting emails across the 5 people, all I need just have one email ID. I'll create a group. Anytime I want to send email to those 5 people, instead of me saying copy this, copy this, copy that, I don't need that. I'll just send the email to that ID. And then what happens? All the 5 people receive the email. So he's not doing anything other than just to distribute to reach emails. To make it faster, efficient, because if I have 1,000 people on the group, how do I start adding them to member of a? How do I start adding? Oh, I want to copy this and start copying all the emails of these people. It's not going. It's going to be long for me. But if I create a distribution list or group, and I have 500 people on that group, all I need just to send it to just one email ID. Every other person will receive it. So it makes life easy. Again, for the security group, if I want to have if I want 5 people, and these 5 people, Olaoluwa, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to ask a question about the group. So it's not possible for us to license a group, right?
No. You are not licensing a group. You can only license a user account.
A user. Okay.
Yes.
But we can send email to a group.
Yes, you can send email to a group. Yes. So So that's the aspect. So now everybody in that group receive it. Now, if somebody say create a security group, the question you now ask is that for what for? Do you want them to, let's say I have 5 people and I want anytime I need to provide access to to all of them. Let's say anytime I want to provide access to maybe they're in the same department and I want them to always have the same permission or the same software application or whatever it is. So I don't need to be adding them one after the other to that software. All I need to do is just to create a security group. And if I want to give permission, in the case of people providing license to as well, all I need to do is just to provide access to the security group, and everybody in that group will have license. Now, assuming I also want to use that same security group to also distribute email, then what it means is that I'm going to create mail-enabled security group. So the security group can be used to distribute mail, can also be used to also provide access or permission. So that's what it means. So now we have, so the difference of what I'm trying to share, that we have on this admin center, we have this type of group. Please pay attention. And on the admin center, you can add group to teams. When we get to teams, you will see some of those things on the teams. And then when you look at this under this group, also pay attention too, because I know you may not have so much on your own end. And that's why I have to use my own. Now, if you look at it, you will see that member assigned, public, private, and all that. That's okay. Now, you will see that some of them has teams. This one does not have teams, which means this is a M365 group that doesn't have teams. Then the one that has this icon and has teams mean that this is a group, but at the same time, this is teams collaborated, which means that it has a team channels where people, can collaborate, have a meeting, call within that meeting channels and all that. So for the sake that the license you are using is a free license and then doesn't have teams, it's already specified there. I don't know why Microsoft removed it. I just need to show you this one, so that when you are in the environment, and even though we can buy teams, I always encourage people that are going to the advanced class at some point to have teams as part of their decision so that we can use to practice. But I will not say for this class. So you could say that it has a team status. All these are teams. But when we get to SharePoint, you also see some differences also as well. So that is that on that. So do you understand now? So right now with what I'm showing you, I would want you guys to create, part of the assignment will be to create different groups, an example of doing that so that we can take a look at. And then make sure you had at least 5 people. We can have about, after about 20 people, 20 users that you have created. Try to create different groups and at least have about 5 to that group. So that way we can use it to practice tomorrow, because tomorrow we are going to be doing a lot of mail flow. And that's very, very important for us. And so distribution list, we already know what it is. Security groups, we already know what it is. We can use to either just for permission alone or just to, just to distribute this as well. So we have that in play. Then we have the exchange part too. You will see under the group that we have M365 group. Now you will see that in the exchange here, you will see that this one too has whatever they have over there. And then, but what you will not see here is that you will not say add to team. You do not see, you don't even though it's going to show up here, but you not see, because it does not just the group only. It does not show where you had teams because it's not a team's property. And then on that distribution list, you only see those add to the group. This is distribution group list, which you're going to create distribution group. Then we have a dynamic distribution list. This one, I've not discussed this one, but here is it. It's part of the exchange group that maybe we're going to be touching on the advanced part. I did say that some of you should create, when you are creating the user, try to use departments and all that and all that. Now, just assume you want to, your manager approached you and said, create a group for us. In this group, we want to have all our members in New York, in California, in Los Angeles, and then maybe in Taiwan, for instance. And then you look at it, you are almost about 50,000 within the organizations. How do you? And then you want a group that will query members, or let's even just say maybe females. Let's say maybe female members that are in New York, that are in Taiwan, and that are in this. How do you use that? Now you want to create something that will dynamically bring all these people as a group, and then you want to be able to send email to just one ID and you capture every one of them. How do you do that? So you can do that by creating a dynamic distribution group. So dynamic distribution group will now be the one, based on the parameters, will be able to query, because we don't have that enough time now to do all that. But what it will do is that it will now query based on the properties that you have filled. An example of that is based on the properties that you fill. Now, it's going to be I'm trying to members. Now, look at this. Do you see now the membership of this group is based on the query? Now, if I want everybody in my team in Lagos, I want to send everybody my team, and I want to, okay, anybody that is still company under the company rules, I create more like a mini rule. And then I said, okay, the state where the person is must be Lagos, and the company name must be this. Then automatically everybody that has the properties in the properties, and then will be. So if I'm sending email, it will send to everybody in Lagos and send to everybody that's accompanying the foster. So we can have a complex rule. Does that make sense? So in that case, you may have to create a complex, but it's not something we can do it because it's complex, and then it has so many other layers that we have to touch when we go to advanced. Now, when you also come into the email enabled security group, then that one is also going to be just one. You cannot create a security group on that exchange. Does that make sense? So that's about the group creation. So our job here is, before next class, let's create all this group. Now, the one that I'm going to mention, vividly, that will make us to start walking into. Now we are going to be diverting more from the, I'm going to take a little bit to exchange, to admin center again. Now that we've talked about the group, we know, of course, we have different groups. We can, policies, we cannot talk about policy now because it's also something that is associated with every other this thing. We have deleted groups. Now take note of this, very key. Deleted groups, 365 groups can be deleted. Any group can be deleted. However, when other people are deleted, right? Any other group, when they are deleted permanently. You want to be very careful when you are deleting groups. Now, the only group that you can restore back within 30 days is M365 group. And the only reason why it is because it's attached to data. Remember when we are looking at the group, it's attached to data, it's attached to Teams, attached to SharePoint, or so it contains some data, so it can be restored easily. The other people doesn't really contain data. They only associate group together. So please take notes. Very, very key. I remember occasion when I actually nuked a group. and it was a complex environment. It's an hybrid environment, not like a cloud environment. And then my boss told me, "Oh, any group that doesn't appear in this, it's not supposed to be there." So I followed. I didn't do my due diligence, and then thankfully, what I deleted was 365 group that contains the senior executive. But and then thank God he was able to restore it back. You don't want to do that. This work can be very complex and very sensitive. So very, very sensitive. So you have to be very, very careful because you work with people's mailbox. It's a public trust job that requires you to know what you need to do, and then also details. Ask questions if you are confused. I work with different MDs mailbox, and you don't want to grant permission to anybody you shouldn't grant permission to. So what they gain is because it's very sensitive. These are people that deals with millions of dollars, and then they use their mailbox, and they will not entrust such a thing to your hands if you don't know what you are doing. Please, very, 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 very good. So you don't want to go and delete empty mailbox anyway. So it's very, very important, especially if you work with Fortune 500 companies, and some of these companies that are in billions of dollars. So you don't want to do that. So it's very, very sensitive. Now, so on the share mailbox, we talked briefly about it, and you already showed us the properties, and then now I'm going to show us more about this. Now, remember, we show under the active users, we saw this under active users, and then we said, okay, let's take a look at this. You can open this here and see the properties. What can you see? You will see that on this mailbox, I can provide access separately for somebody who can read this mailbox. It's a share mailbox as it is. I can provide a send access permission so that different levels of mailbox permission that you're going to be given. And then you can send on behalf permission. What does this mean? What does this mean? What it means is, if you are providing this, you need to be clear about what, because you come as a ticket and said, oh, we need access to this share mailbox. You ask them, do they want to be able to send us on this mailbox, or do they want to be sent on behalf, or do they want to have permission to read alone? Some people, they just want to be given a permission to be able to read the content of the email as they are coming. Maybe it's a senior level star and it's not the one responsible for sending email. So you don't give that person that kind of access to send emails from that share mailbox. Rather, you give with the principle of least privileges, meaning that when you are giving access to anything, make sure you give the very least privilege access to that person. So that, if the person doesn't respond to send emails, you don't need to give that person access to send email. So now sending emails means that the person, we have to test all this in tomorrow. Sending this access means that's why you have to, when you are creating any of these mailbox, please also provide. Tomorrow is going to be something that we are going to provide access, and we'll be seeing it live. I'm also going to get another additional virtual machine that I'm going to create virtually online. I'm going to show us how we'll create that as well. Now, so this one means that you will only be able to send. You'll be able to send. So if you have this one and you have this one, it means that I can check the emails, then I can send from. Now, I'm going to show you an example of what I'm talking about. Now, look at this one. If I want to send email from another mailbox, this is my default mailbox. I want to send email from another mailbox that I have access to. I could just turn this one in. I'm sending from this one, but I'm not sending on behalf. And I can put this one, I can put a different signature to it and say, oh, this is my signature. And then I can manage all these mailboxes and I can send. However, send on behalf, it's when somebody has this access, maybe this majorly is given by the most times secretary. You will see that, oh, this mailbox, this message is coming on behalf of somebody else. The secretary is sending message and having this send on behalf access. There will be a tag there that, oh, it is Tommy that is sending it on behalf of the group share mailbox, or even in most cases could be a user mailbox. So that is also possible. So you could see that you could manage the share mailbox under the admin center, and then you can also manage the main box under the admin center. So the first, my mailbox is not, my regular mailbox is not going to be appear here because it's not a share mailbox. But when you go to the exchange, you will see all of them there. You will see the share mailbox. You will see the share mailbox, which is, you see the user mailbox and you see the share mailbox. You will see the share mailbox here. And so I can manage the share, I can only manage user mailbox here. And then you could see the delegation. I can provide somebody, send us access for somebody to be able to manage my mailbox, maybe my secretary and all that. Then the cable can send on my behalf. Maybe if the person can send us. Actually, if I want that person to be to impersonate me and send as if I'm the one sending, then I'll provide this one. So when the person send it, it will look as if, oh, it's Ajayi that is actually send that mailbox. But most times when they are very sensitive organization, you use this sense so that you know that, oh, they actually, maybe the MD asked the secretary, please, I need all the executives send a meeting on behalf of me. So they will know that is with the instruction of the MD that this instruction is coming. But if it's sent from using this one, they will say, oh, it is the MD that actually sent me an email, even though it is not the MD that actually sent the mail. So we have to be very careful the kind of send us you give. And then if they also see your full message, you also maybe you want your secretary to be able to see your full messages. The same thing also for this as well. When you have delegation, I have people monitor my mail, so to help me send on my behalf and all that. So you can see, so we have all that. So you can manage your mailbox here, whether it is room or this, you can manage them here. So you could see the difference here. So on the admin center, when it comes to resource mailbox, we already talked about it, that we have resource mailbox, which can be, when you want to add them, it will tell whether it's a room or equipment. So it gives you two types, whether what you want to manage is room, or whether you want to have manage is an equipment. Now, by default, you give your domains. If you're having just only one domain, put this in there. So you create a room mailbox because we will need it. We can leave it as it is and create it. Now, you can create also your room mailbox here and put the exact capacity here. Now, it's also going to be quite different when you create it here. So we'll look at it. When you create the properties, after creating it, you can edit the properties, and then it can give you all the things that you want to. Now, this is what you need, as whether it's a room mailbox or commitment. So please do try it out. If you have any problem, we're going to take a look at it tomorrow to start this, and then we can say. But the major thing tomorrow was to be able to look at the mail flow, send email from each other and all that. And then we're going to have the mail flow around. So for now, you have to practice yourself. If you have a problem, you then bring it up. The first 30 minutes tomorrow was just to create to people who have issues, and we'll be able to share. And then, because we are now getting to more practical session, and then we'll just share, and then I will know that you have done it. So part of your assignment is to be able to create all those things. So the same way too, when you go to resource mailbox, you will see the same thing here. And then notice something. When you put it on this, you will see that it has more flexibility or something that's provided for you, even though it is still the same thing. So, but whatever way is going to appear on both, whichever way you want to spin it, it's going to appear on both. I want to go to the next one. I'm not going to create anything. So you do all this one and then next, and then you ask you by default. These ones are by default. You can make changes based on what they want. Whether they want to have a delegate or to automatically accept or decline. So basically, people will send email to this and they put it, and then you show them the availability. We're going to test all that tomorrow. So please create resource mailbox, and we want to see how it's going to work on your own end. I'm going to ask one of you to give me access to one account, to create one account for me and license it, and I'm going to, try to, because I don't want you to mix up with my own environment. I'll create a virtual machines online, and then I'll for the prayer of people that want to go to advanced, I will just create it while you are here. I'll create the virtual machines on the cloud, and then we'll look at that system. We'll log into that system with the account you are going to provide for me. And after the class, I'm going to destroy that system. So basically for demo, so that we'll use a brand new system, and we'll look at the Outlook. We'll look at how it's going to look like. Because tomorrow we'll be looking at the Outlook. How do you manage Outlook and all that? And because that's where the mail flow comes in. How to trace email, how to trace your emails from one place, and then you can trace it, using the header, create the rules and all that. Very, very important. Because by the end of tomorrow, like I said, you should be able to say, oh, I can create users, I can create mailbox, I can create rule mailbox, I can trace Mailflow if there's a problem with Mailflow, and at the same time, I can look at the problems with an Outlook on the different system, because that is what you're going to be doing as an entry-level person, as an engineer. You're not doing the majorly side server side, but at least at an entry level, you should be able to do that conveniently, and all that. So the contact is just the same thing as what you have there. Now, like I said, the mail flow, we are going to be more, these other ones are majorly for connectors, are major for advanced. But of course, we're going to be working more on mail trace, how we can trace emails, how we can use rules on our mails. Very interesting. We should be able to have all these mail rules, and then of course message trace. If there are any problems, somebody say, oh, we are not getting email from the organization. Somebody was trying to send us a message and we are not getting it. What happened? And all that. You come and trace it. Then when you trace it, there are questions you will ask. When you trace it, then you'll be able to come and then you'll be able to figure things out and say, oh, this is where the problem is, and they'll be able to resolve it. So for those who want practical, please start creating those things we asked for, so that by the time we start working around it, it will be very much easy for everybody to work on. So the resource is here. So the other part of it are going to be majorly for setup. These are going to be, we're going to touch about, let me just talk about reports. Basically, there's nothing really a report than for you to see what is being used in your Office 365, giving you analytics about the usage of your what is being used and all that. It's just analytics about your usage and all that. And most times companies want you to monitor that too as well, about usage analytics. So you might need to start monitoring your usage or analytics on your own environment as well. Then, just in case, I'm not sure, usually most senior person would want to go to have a support from Microsoft. So this is also going to be for advanced class. And then I think I mentioned your licenses last time. How to check your licenses and all that, why you can provide licenses. So those are the differences for now. Then I think the other one you might be interested in is health service, service health, and message centers. Services is where Microsoft provide what is going on within their own environment, because it's a SaaS environment. If anything happened to their server, in most cases, if people are saying, oh, they just open tickets, and you see that ticket so much, in most cases, it might be a problem for Microsoft. So you just go check the X service environment to know where Microsoft is having issues. They will report it so that you can know. And you don't need to start doing any troubleshooting. Just know that, oh, some people are having problem. I think some people, like some users may experience intermittent crashes linked to Microsoft Teams. We have a problem, as at today. We hosted a big program, and we have a lot of people who work at, but unfortunately we discovered that there was a crash, and then and we had to say, okay, let's switch to Zoom. So it's very, very possible. Message center is where they send you messages on whatever it is need to be done within your environment and all that. So, or what is planning, what Microsoft is planning, what are the things that is coming up. These are messages that you can, just check through. So the other ones are majorly for advanced class, but for the just on the surface that you needed to know, being able to create an account, use your users, know the difference between those groups, understand when to use them, how to use them, delegations, have email, you can troubleshoot emails, mail flow, the basic things you can do for every entry level, for Office 365, and then for them to get at least an entry level job. When you do that, practice that, efficiently, at least for the next 1 month, you're probably not going to be the same, of course. And then, of course, when we go in, for those who are going to continue, then we'll go more deeper and then have, an advanced skills, on that, more complex scenarios that we can think, take a look at and all that. So I think I'm going to stop here. Question to start with. So I'm going to stop my sharing. So question to start with. Yes, Mr. Ayo.
Good afternoon or good morning, whatever time you're on. Thank you for the presentation. I happen to have missed the first two sessions, and I know that they are recorded. Are we able to get to see that so I can catch up so I'll be ready for the next class?
Yes. So
Okay.
we have it. So in fact, we actually published the notes. The note is still going to be on this thing. So I think some of the members, you can send me your you can drop your Gmail account.
Okay.
So we can add you to a quick announcement actually. So we have published that one to YouTube. All this thing will be published to YouTube. So
Right.
it will be, you can always see it. Then the notes are also going to be dropping the notes on the Google Drive, because I
Right.
realized that the volumes of what I'm pushing on the Google Drive is getting bigger and bigger. So I decided to publish them on the YouTube so that it can always be there for you to use. And then this thing is also going to be there. The notes too, I'm also going to drop the notes. Every class I drop the notes. So for those who have not registered or who have not, please do so by putting your email address for you to have access to the class. So it's there. Please do so.
Yeah. I had registered and I did put my email, but I didn't receive anything, which was so I couldn't really catch up. Yeah. So my second question, while we think about that, is why I was just intrigued that we're talking about Microsoft 365 with inherent Teams, but we're not using Teams. Is there a reason why?
Where we are not using Teams,
Yeah.
Yes, we can use Teams. You mean for this session?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, you mean are you talking about the account that we created, or is it
No, because this is a Microsoft thing.
Oh, yes.
So, and I thought that all of us probably have Teams as well. So I'll tell you what I'm asking. I've got both, but I've always wondered why people tend to use Zoom more than Teams.
Yes, I'm going to explain that because it's true. A lot of people tend to use Zoom more than Teams for two reasons. Now, Microsoft for Zoom is more open. You don't need somebody to register on an identity before you can join Zoom. So they make it that you don't really need an identity to be invited. before you can use Zoom. And you could see that they majorly for voice and for videos and voice. So their servers and all that majorly for voice. But when it comes to Teams, there are so many workloads around it. And not also, if you are going to invite somebody to Teams, you have to invite that person by through email, and before that person gets invited to Teams. So Microsoft will create a temporary account for that person, maybe a guest account or whatever it is. So it's a lot of complexity when it comes to Teams. We can use Teams. Teams is free. And I think that's exactly what happened, with people that I actually had meeting with in Nigeria. We over almost about 300 people, because when we look at it, we realize that. So, but if you have Microsoft license, if Teams license, then it's faster because that identity is registered directly with Microsoft. So if I'm not sure everybody here has, Microsoft license, Teams license. So it might be more complex if you want to integrate with Teams for a public environment like this. But if it's a corporate environment, you use Teams because everybody identity is already within the corporate environment. But in the situation whereby you are trying to organize a big or an open-ended this thing, you will realize that even though Teams is free, but the complexity by bringing those users, on board is not going to be. There'll be issue, there'll be problem. That's what I've seen in most cases. But if that person, the other person, or has Teams, yes, even I think there was even a case where the other person has Team, you still have to grant them permission externally if you are using a corporate organization. So there are so many complexities, but the Zoom is open, so it's more like an open source. It's open, even though whoever that owns what's it called? If you're a user, the main host has a license to hold, thousands or maybe hundreds of people, it's free to hold that because you all need to do just have a link. You just put your name and then you join. So the identity is not well emphasized when it comes to Zoom or like the Microsoft. Well, maybe they're going to open that later on, but for now, they are more restrictive to an organization than that of Zoom, which is more open to any source. Is it that people are not using Zoom or Teams? They are using Teams because Teams is free, but the complexity around it can be so cumbersome. So that's all I can say. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. So any questions as regards this? Eventually I've used mine to explain what's the distance. So tomorrow is going to be your own turn, where we're going to be looking at what you have created, the security group you created, the security enable group you created, all those you have created. And then of course there will be questions before then that that will inform me to know that yes, you're actually going along with me. And then we go into the practical session, which is majorly on Mayflow. Let me see. I hope I did touch on practically everything. Yes, we can have create share mailbox, assign members, assign delegate members. I'm going to just touch on delegate members briefly because I'm not sure. So that somebody will know that this is the way to assign delegate member, because we need. I did mention that, but we still need to be able to do that. Delegate membership is very key. I showed that although, but then I still need to be able to. Let's go to under exchange, for instance. I'm going to add somebody to my mailbox. So the person at least must have an account on my mailbox. So this is my mailbox, and I needed to add delegate permission to my mailbox. So if I needed that person to just read the full this thing, now you could see me having access to my own mailbox here. Now, if I needed somebody within my organization to have access to my mailbox, I just say, okay, I'm giving this person to be able to have access to this share mailbox. It's a share mailbox. And then I'll save it. It's as simple as that. And wait for it to be dead, to be added. Within 5 minutes, the person will see it on his mailbox. And then this is how it's going to look like. If you look at my account here, you will see here that I have several mailboxes here that I manage. Several share mailboxes that I manage. And so it's going to be mapped to the backside for those who are using the classic Outlook. We're going to be taking a look at that tomorrow, because we'll be looking to look at the calendars, share mailbox, how does it appear? If you tell me that you have configured the share mailbox or you have given permission, I will ask you to open the user mailbox, open it, let's see, and all that. So those are the things that will be seen, right? So you will see the differences. I'm going to just remove this person. And then if they also give you a ticket that say, please remove this person from share mailbox, so you can also, the same method is very simple. Same way. Then for the room mailbox too, you can decide to create a delegate. We're going to just look around and see how we're going to work around that environment. So I think I will leave it at that. So please watch this video. I'm going to push it to the YouTube. For people who you can like, subscribe, and then put a click notification button, so that as soon as I think they posted it already on the group. As soon as the message, the video is dropped, so you will see it, and then you can take a watch mid after the class. And then, of course, also, I'm also going to drop the note as well. The note is just a short note, but with the more explanation is what we have given. And then you can follow through. If you have any challenges, any problem, please let's talk about the first 30 minutes tomorrow. Will be just look at the challenges, and then we'll start creating scenarios on how we troubleshoot our mail flow. Right? Okay. Any question before we close? All right. Thank you so much for joining the class today. And I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow it's 4 p.m., 4:15 p.m. our Eastern time. Don't forget that this time is I think it's coming backward. So please, adjust your time. Already giving the check our global time to let us know the time we're all going to be connecting tomorrow. All right. Thanks everyone. Have a good night rest.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.